Welcome back to part two of the Ruby Bridges story. I will do more of a tell story than a read all pages because it's quite a long book. So, as we go through the pictures, listen and learn. Here is a picture of Ruby and her family. A very long time ago, Ruby and her family moved to a new city. Her mother wanted her to be near to God's Spirit. When Ruby's family moved, in that city, the black children and the white children were not able to receive the same education. That was not fair. But the judge ordered for Ruby to go to elementary school. She was 6 years old. Ruby's family went to church to pray because they were so excited about Ruby getting to go to school. Ruby's mother prayed that they would be strong and have courage to get through any trouble that Ruby would have and be a good girl as she held her head up high. On the first day of school, Ruby had to face angry people. They shouted rude words at her and tried to hurt her, but Ruby held her head high and she walked right along. She was not afraid. Every day it was the same story, day after day, months after months. The white families in the neighborhood would not send their children to school. Ruby was alone in the class. Her teacher, Mrs. Hurley, was with her, but Ruby learned to read and write. She was not afraid. Mrs. Hurley, Ruby's teacher, wondered how Ruby did it. Ruby was fine. Mrs. Hurley looked out the window. She saw Ruby coming to school, but she was surprised. Something was happening. Let's find out what was happening. There were still hungry people all around Ruby, but Ruby stood and she started to move her mouth. What was Ruby saying? When Ruby got inside, Mrs. Hurley, her teacher, asked her, "What were you saying to those people?" Ruby told her teacher she wasn't speaking to the people. She was praying. And after school, Ruby prayed another prayer. This is what Ruby prayed. She said, "Please, God, try to forgive those people. Because even if they say those bad things, they don't know what they're doing. So you could forgive them. Just like you did those folks a long time ago when they said terrible things about you." This is the end of the Ruby Bridges story. Ruby was very brave and courageous. Although Ruby had so much difficulty trying to get her education, she was positive. She forgave the people who hated her and said bad things about her. She prayed for them using positive words. Parents, you can get this book at the library and read it in its entirety and share with your family. It can be had at any local library. Thanks for watching.